let's get on to the new science of this week. Normally, Dieter Lucum is the one that presents a new science, but I am taking on that task this week since he is out. And I picked something that's kind of near and dear to me, and it has to deal with gaming. I've been getting a lot into gaming lately, so I found this study particularly interesting.
Welcome back to another episode of the Secular Roundtable Podcast. You believe what? Religion is the cesspool of human ignorance. Are you fucking kidding me? Go back to your little corner, pray like 10 more times, and come back when you're ready to be rational.
Interesting. And I'm not going to show the entire study. We do have it linked below down in the description. If you want to go and check that out, I highly suggest that you do, because this particular study actually points out that, those that do gaming a lot have a greater perception or interference deflection or whatnot. They can adapt to perceptual interferences and be able to actually learn better than those that don't game. Basically, what the study did was they took a set of basic images, right, and they had them in different corners of the field of view. And so basically they tested each of the groups, one gamer, one non-gamer, and what they would do is they would switch up the background from a horizontal line design to a vertical line design. And what they came to find out was that these gamers, they were able to adapt quicker and be able to retain information longer compared to the non-gamers. And what they did was, over a period of 2 days, they tested this out on the gamers, and it showed some really positive results in favor of the gamers, because not only were they able to retain the information longer and be able to adapt quicker, but it showed a greater learning curve that was being sort of trained into the gamers. And this doesn't necessarily mean that because you're a gamer you are smarter, but because you are a gamer, you're more practiced at tuning out different perceptual diversions and are able to focus on the information that's laid out in front of you. Therefore, you're able to learn better and not be distracted as easy.
I think that's actually pretty interesting. I mean, personally, I think that people that are really heavily invested into video games, you are. I happen to be myself. I'm probably like 300 hours in to The Witcher 3 right now. But I think that these people have higher levels of brain stimulation. And maybe it doesn't apply to everyone, but at least for most of these people that are actually going out and seeking that stimulation for their brain that they're not getting out there in the real world, because let's face it, the social species that we used to be has become a technological species. So what I'm trying to say is they're seeking out this stimulation, and I think that it's stimulating the brain. And from what I've found, the people that I know who are gamers are some of the most intelligent people that I've ever met. That's just my perception, though. I may be a little bit biased.
Yeah, and I have found that gaming really helps of course, your hand-eye coordination, but it also helps your problem-solving abilities, because a lot of games now are more oriented on solving problems and coming up with creative solutions. And so I think that it really does a lot to exercise the brain in the problem-solving aspect, and in that way it really helps you train yourself to be more of a problem solver, rather than somebody that would look at a problem and get all that anxiety and not know how to do it. But I mean, of course, I would hope that there are studies that support this, but you never know. I think it would be
there are
interesting.
actually some studies that have been done. I did a video on this a while back, but there were studies that were done by scientists. They actually created their own video game, and they used it to help people battling with depression. And there was something else. I'll have to throw the link out there in the comments if I'm able to. But it actually helped them better to play the game that they specifically designed to help them with the depression more than it did to go see a doctor or get on medication. What did you think about that?
Well, yeah. Sorry, I was a little distracted. What you're saying that playing games were better than some medication?
Yes, better than medication and seeing doctors. It was these scientists, they actually created their own video game and tested it on people suffering from depression and found that it helped them better than seeing psychiatrists or therapists or taking medicines.
Well, okay, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted, but yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, depression is really just an imbalance in the chemicals in your brain, and any way that you can elicit, more of those chemicals or the right amount of chemicals or whatnot, I think that I mean, I'm very surprised that they were able to actually design a game that could elicit those types of feelings. I don't think that it would be for everybody, just like any kind of medication would be, but I think that any way that you can, try to balance out those chemicals would be beneficial. And if you can do that without resorting to drugs and have it happen naturally, I think that that makes it even better.
Yeah, another thing that people may not realize too, they say that there's this misconception rather, by older people that by sitting in the house playing video games, you've cut yourself off from society. When it's not actually true, there were many social interactions I had when I was playing video games. It's some of the most popular games that have millions of people online playing are social games where you're playing with other people, teamwork, team-based games, things like that. So it's not always just locking yourself up and being in solitary confinement playing video games. Really, you have the opportunity to get that social interaction. And this was probably back when I first joined the military. I actually had a clan on there, and that's where like 90% of my social interaction came from playing games online with my
Yeah,
clan.
Yeah, games are starting to move more in that direction. Even the games that in the past have really been solitary games, because with sites like Twitch and now YouTube, who are really promoting this live streaming of gaming and having a very social time as far as your gameplay experience. And so I think that it's going to move more and more in that direction of social gaming. Even if the game isn't really designed to be social, we have found ways to make it social. And I think that's probably because we are a social animal, we are a social organism, and we really crave that social interaction. And so I think that gaming in general is very good, and that's one of the reasons why I've started doing gaming streams on my channel, specifically for the conversations that they tend to elicit. Like this past weekend, while I was playing Fallout New Vegas, we had a really nice deep discussion on gun control in America, and everybody in the chat was feeding off of each other, exchanging ideas, as well as me exchanging ideas while I was playing the game. Some people don't like that. They just like to see the actual game action. But, on my channel, it's more for the discussion and the social interaction rather than the gameplay.
Yeah, for me too. It's very rare that I will sit down and play a game like The Witcher, where I'm not actually playing with people. It's got to be a very captivating game, and it is. So, they're not
Yeah.
paying me to say that. But usually when I play games and I get online, if none of my friends are online and we haven't coordinated that we're going to get online together and play, I usually don't get on because I'm like you in the aspect of the social interaction is what I'm geared more towards. It has to be a really fantastic game to keep me playing it by myself.
Right.